This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Stacy Jensen. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Give them a call, 727-9900.
Welcome and thanks so much for joining us here. We hope you had a wonderful holiday weekend. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
I'm Stacy Jensen, and we're so glad to be back with you on this Monday, November 29th.
Well, one person is under arrest for suspicion of driving under the influence and causing a deadly crash on U.S. Highway 95 here in Nye County. Here's Brad Francis with more.
3 people, including 2 children and a dog, were killed Sunday morning in a crash that involved several vehicles on US 95 east of State Route 373. Now, the driver state troopers say is responsible for the crash is under arrest for suspicion of driving impaired. Christos Varashnos is behind bars and facing a long list of serious charges, including DUI above the legal limit resulting in death and DUI above the legal limit resulting in substantial bodily harm. Authorities say they received several calls about a silver Volvo driving erratically on US 95 just after 11 a.m. Sunday. Troopers were en route to the area when they received word of a crash. The initial investigation indicates the Volvo, being driven by Varashnos, was heading northbound when it crossed into oncoming traffic. A truck towing a trailer heading southbound pulled onto the right shoulder to avoid a crash. The Volvo sideswiped the trailer, then continued northbound in the southbound lane where it struck an oncoming SUV, which was also trying to get out of the way. Investigators say the Volvo continued in the southbound lane where it then struck a Chrysler minivan nearly head-on. Troopers say after the Volvo struck the minivan, it struck a camper van, causing the camper van to overturn. Parump Valley Fire and Rescue was one of several agencies that responded to the scene.
There was numerous patients. We placed a count between 15 and 18 total patients that were involved one way or the other in this accident. The scene size-up revealed that there was 3 vehicles specifically that sustained significant damage, and in one of the vehicles, which occupied 5 people, we found 3 decedents that did not survive their injuries.
Those 3 victims were passengers in the Chrysler minivan, an adult male who was in the front passenger seat, a juvenile male who was in the seat behind him, and a juvenile female in a third-row seat. The driver, an adult female, and a juvenile male in the seat behind her were transported to UMC Trauma Center. Both are expected to survive. 2 other people were transported to a local hospital for treatment of their injuries. A dog also died at the scene. Troopers say the animal was ejected from the Volvo at some point during the crash, which remains under investigation.
Thank you, Brad. The State Fire Marshal's office is investigating a structure fire that claimed the life of a Parump woman. Neighbors called 911 to report the fire, which started in the early evening hours last Wednesday at a home on Blanchard Road. Parump Valley Fire Chief Scott Lewis says the home was already fully engulfed in flames when firefighters arrived.
As crews were responding, we were notified that there was heavy fire conditions and that the fire had extended to a vehicle that was closely placed. There were several RPs, so we knew we'd be going to work. It was already dark, and as we were responding, we observed the orange glow in the area of the fire. Upon arrival, we found a single-wide manufactured dwelling with heavy fire showing just about at every single window and doorway. We commenced a quick defensive attack because the structure itself was too unsafe for our firefighters to enter. We quickly knocked down the main body of fire, immediately went into what we would call a primary search, was to ensure that there's nobody in the structure. As we were finalizing that, starting at one end and working our way down, we observed evidence that there was a body in the structure. We immediately preserved that scene, went into an investigative mode, made notifications to the State Fire Marshal's office as well as the Nye County Sheriff's Office requesting a detective. We preserved that scene until the arrival of the State Fire Marshal's office, and then they conducted the investigation overnight and into the early morning hours the next day. Right now we're just investigating the possibility of an accidental ignition. I'm not sure exactly what may have happened, but hopefully the investigation will help us make that determination.
And Parump Valley Fire and Rescue was busy once again with yet another fire late Sunday night. This one destroyed a manufactured home on Meyer Drive. Chief Lewis says a woman living there was able to escape and is now receiving assistance from the American Red Cross.
We received a call late last night for a reported structure fire, again with at least 1 or 2 additional RPs, indicating a working fire in a manufactured dwelling. The status of the occupant was unknown at the time of the report. Crews responding once again found an orange glow in the sky in the area of the reported fire. As we arrived, we found heavy fire conditions through a self-vented roof surface, and the crews immediately went into action, stretched multiple hand lines with the intent that this was a rescue. As we approached the front of the house, we found the occupant had safely egressed out of the building. However, was in the process of trying to collect several dogs that were let loose from kennels within the house itself. One dog was unaccounted for, at least this morning, and we did medically assess the occupant, who ended up being okay and refused medical transport. We're investigating the fire. The fire is thought to be accidental in nature. This was an interesting structure. It had its dynamics. It was a double wide with an attached single wide, forming a larger square footage structure. Different vintages and different ages on those types of structures, and it added to the dynamics. We're also investigating a possibility of a re-roof, which means it wasn't replaced, but it was added to, which caused additional heat loads in the interior, as well as an overabundance of personal property stored within. Both structures that were attached sustained significant heat and fire damage. Both of this fire, as well as the other fires we experienced over the weekend, were all occurred in areas without hydrants. And so we had to bring the water with us via our water tenders and then establish water supplies off-site. We requested Red Cross assistance last evening, and neighbors were more than willing to help this occupant throughout the overnight hours.
Well, we'll have some fire safety tips with Scott Lewis right after this break.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. There's been a string of structure fires here in Parump in just the last few weeks. 4 people have died in those fires. Chief Lewis says it's important to take precautions to ensure you and your family are better prepared if disaster strikes.
This is our 4th fatal fire, and quite frankly, we've had 2 additional structure fires within the last few days that were also very close calls of having additional fatalities. And while each of them has their own different dynamics as to what has happened, we're reminding everyone just to be extremely careful. For whatever reason, some decisions that are being made by our residents aren't necessarily helping them out to get out of the structure safely. And just please do whatever is possible to make sure your home is safe and that you have a complete understanding of your escape plan in the event that a problem does occur. And we always remind everyone that the best place to be is low to the ground. We have a tendency to want to stand up and run out, but the thing is, depending on the situation, if we stand up, we may put ourselves right in that thermal layer, and that will take us into an unconscious state very early on, and there's no coming out of it at that point. Space heaters, extension cords, placing extension cords under throw rugs or under a pile of material will cause a radiant heat buildup, and obviously we can have fire conditions as a result. Make sure that space heaters that you purchase are rated for the appropriate use within the buildings or the structure you're using them. Space heaters and also heat lamps. Make sure there's no combustibles in the area. That is attributed to at least one structure fire that we had over the weekend was use of a heat lamp.
Well, there has been confirmed 2 new deaths related to COVID-19 reported since last Monday. Both are residents of Parump. There are 37 new COVID-19 positive cases here in Nye County over the past week that have been tested and reported. That's 4 in Smoky Valley, 2 in Tonopah, and the remainder here in Parump. The total is 4,728 confirmed cases of COVID-19 positive test results since the first reported positive case. Nye County test positivity rate is 12.4%. It's the second highest in the state. The Parump COVID and flu vaccine clinic will move to Tuesdays starting December 7th from 9 a.m. until 1. This week, the Parump clinic will remain on Wednesday, December 1st from 9 until 1. Future clinics will be held from 9 until 1 on every Tuesday, December 14th, January 4th, 11th, 18th, 25th, February 1st, 8th, 5th, 22nd, and March 1st. Please note that there will be no clinics on December 21st or 28th. Also, the previously announced Sunday, December 11th clinic has been canceled. COVID and flu vaccines will be available on those days by appointment from the community health nurse. Their office is located at 1981 East Calvada Boulevard. You can give them a call, 775-751-7070 for an appointment. If you get the message machine, just leave a message. When no one is available, they'll give you a call back. The Tonopah Community community health nurse will continue to host a walk-in COVID-19 vaccine clinic on Tuesdays from noon until 4:30 at their office located at 1 Frankie Street. You can give them a call at 775-482-6659 for more information. You don't need an appointment for COVID-19 testing, vaccines, or flu vaccines as well. The next Beatty COVID and flu clinic will be held on Wednesday, December 15th and Wednesday, February 2nd from 10 to 11 a.m. at the community center located at 100 South Avenue A. The next Amargosa Valley vaccine clinic will be held on Thursday, December 16th and February 3rd from 10 until 11 at their community center located at 1640 East Farm Road. Please call 775-751-7070 for more information on the Beatty and Amargosa Valley clinics. We'll return in just a moment.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. News 25, local news you can count on.
Welcome back. Our own Nye County tax assessor in Rotarian, Sherry Stringer, collected some much-needed winter items recently. The group donated them to the Salvation Army this week. John Watt from the charity says these blankets and coats will be going to good use.
Well, we're here today at the Salvation Army. With Rotary, my community give back was a coat drive, and it was kind of short notice, but we were very successful. We brought probably 50 coats, blankets. There's a bag of socks in there, there's sleeping bags, there's children's clothes, there's Christmas sweaters. Salvation Army does a lot for our community here, and I thought it was a prime place to bring these donations so that they can help less fortunate here in our community. We were at Nevada Realty and at the assessor's office. We had 2 donation boxes, and we got quite a bit, and I really want to thank the community for stepping up. We did collect quite a few items that people will need as we get into the colder weather. You know, Rotary does a lot for the community here, and yes, I can honestly say I was in that situation back in the 80s, and I remember getting those helping hands, and I was very thankful. You know, I didn't know where my daughter and my next meal was going to come from, and lost my job, and so I can relate to what's going on in the world today. So I felt it was a need that was there, and I hope I fulfilled it.
Well, we get a number of requests from people that come in. They'll come in here getting on food pantry days, which is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8:30 to 2 o'clock, and they're getting food, and they're also will say, do you have a coat? Do you have a blanket? In fact, just yesterday I had somebody ask for socks when we didn't have any socks, so it's great that there's going to be some socks that we're going to be able to have. We keep that on hand. We're in the process of moving everything that we've had over to Nevada Outreach because we're going to be moving. But what we're not moving is any coats, blankets. They come looking here. Salvation Army, it's a place they grew up knowing about. They've heard about Salvation Army has the blankets and stuff. And that's not to put the other organizations down because they do a lot in this town.
I just wanted to say that Sherry is a very new member of our club, and she's been very actively involved in every project she has gotten hold of or been chairman of. She's showed a lot of energy, and it's just been this great for us to be a part of her club. And with this clothes drive, she did it. She's done all of the work, and I just can't thank her enough for everything that she has done.
If you still have jackets, blankets, whatever you want to donate, you can certainly still bring them to those 2 offices, and we'll bring them down here to the Salvation Army. So it's never too late.
Well, in this next report, we're going to tell you all you need to know about vaccines for your children.
Influenza still is an illness that can hit children, particularly our youngest children under 3 years of age, very hard with hospitalization.
Flu season is unpredictable, so we're not sure how widespread it will be this year, but cases are starting to pop up. Dr. Keating says it's recommended everyone over the age of 6 months get a flu shot each year. For kids ages 5 and up, COVID-19 vaccination is also a good idea, and according to the CDC, it's safe for a child to receive a COVID-19 and a flu shot together, or close together.
We are able and eager to give both of them together. They can be on the same day, and there are no requirements between how many days are between the vaccines.
Once infected, kids can spread flu and COVID-19 to others who may be more susceptible to complications or severe illness. Dr. Keating says the best way to protect your family and the community is to be vaccinated against both.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Parump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
All right, taking a look at that beautiful sunset outside to our west.
Beautiful weather. We're going to come back with more on your weather right after this.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
All right. Today in Las Vegas, a high of 75 and a low tonight, 49. Amargosa, 78. Tonight, 44. Death Valley, 78, 58. Pretty good temperatures there. Beatty, 76, 46. Still holding on and having those really good fall temperatures. Not getting too cold. Goldfield, 61, 30. Tonopah beating them out at 61, 29. Carson City, 64, 30. Fallon, 63 with a low tonight, 24. And Fernley, 62 with a low tonight of 29. Here in Parump, clear skies today with your high of 65 degrees. Winds out of the east at 4 miles per hour. Looking at a low tonight of 43 degrees. Humidity up there at 30%. And sunset 4:29 p.m. Tomorrow we're going to have a high of 76 with sunny skies with your low of 43. Winds, just slight winds at 5 miles an hour out of the southeast. Humidity at 20%. And sunrise 6:35 in the morning.
All right, taking a look at your 7-day forecast. Looks like we're going to stay at those really good temperatures in the low to mid 70s and dipping down into the lower 40s here for the rest of the week. We do get a little cooler on Friday with some light winds and a couple partly clouds on Thursday and also coming back on Monday. That's your 7-day forecast right here.
All right. Fantastic. I know that there's something coming up this weekend. Tell everybody about that. That's a little bit of a change from what we're used to here.
Right.
Parump Valley Disposal, right?
Right. Over at the Walmart parking lot, you get the recycling going on. There it is. Recycling program changes, big changes. The drop-off recycle bins are now going to be manned from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. only. That's Monday through Sunday. And Parump Valley Disposal team members are going to be there to provide recycling education and assistance.
And that's right there at the Walmart location because they've had quite a few incidents with people dumping garbage and household trash.
Electronics.
Beds. Yeah. So they're trying to make sure that the public is educated.
Exactly.
And of course, if you see somebody dumping incorrect items, they ask that you call the Nye County Sheriff's Office at 751-7000 because it is actually illegal.
Yep.
All right. There is a Wounded Warrior Project fundraiser coming up at the Parump Nugget. That's going to be on December 5th, starting at noon until 5 p.m. at the bowling alley there. So it's a bowling game. It's only $10 per person for 3 games. And that's right there on the corner of Highway 160 and Highway 372. This, once again, is a fundraiser. There's going to be prizes and raffles. And if you would like to find out more, you can give Denise Flanagan a call at 209-0783. You can also donate to the Wounded Warrior Project by going to woundedwarrior.org. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great.
It was good?
Lots of food, lots of food.
Lots of fun.
Lots of fun and food.
We hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thanks so much for joining us. It's been a long weekend, a really fun weekend. We'll have the community Thanksgiving dinner and all the update that happened at that event on tomorrow night's broadcast. I'm Deanna.
I'm Stacy.
Good night.